Welcome in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm coming in a little late today. And I had some running around to do. Hold on one second. Okay. So I am coming on really quick. Not going to be on long. Hey, lovely. It's 7 p.m., but you're on time for me. Cool. Um, Hold on. Let me see if I can work my lighting. That's about as good as my light's gonna get right now, because my light decided. Oh, there it is. Oh, it's being weird. Oh, who knows? I'm like, who knows anymore? Okay. All right. So, I had some running around to do, and it was kind of weird. Okay, really weird. I have a shade close to stay cool. It's too hot. Yes, we're gonna dive into some of that. Um, I had some running around to do this morning, so I did some running around, and I had to do my hair. It was like I had to take it down, redo the braids, get it all oiled and redone again, and did it and put it in a bigger braids because that's what I want to do and keeps my head cool. And I said I want to have this done before I go on. I've got to take care of me real quick. So I had a moment where we were driving over to Citrus Heights. Welcome to Be So Light. My name is Felicia, as well as Liana, as well as Priestess Makala. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we were driving over to Citrus Heights, and I said, I want to go over to the Joann's over there because I'm looking for some material stuff. They didn't have it, but I noticed how everything, and this is where it got a little weird. Okay, got a little weird for me. Hold on, let me check my lighting. No, that makes me look like I'm yellow. So it got a little weird. So as I go over to driving through the stores, oh, that's what it is. Okay. And I'm driving around. I'm noticing I was in the old place side of town where I did a lot of nursing, where I worked at this nursing place. And I said, wow, right over there was a nursing place me and Dad used to work at. And I would come over here and get lunch. And I noticed how everything was taken down. And I was like, wow, they got rid of the Benihana place. And wow, they got rid of the still, okay, the Rite Aid is still there, but then I drove towards the Rite Aid and it was closed down. No, it wasn't there anymore. And I was like, this whole section has been redone, all updated. They're getting ready to put in a Amazon store there. And I'm like, next to the new Joanne. The Joanne's had a whole new face on it. And I was like, and it was all redone, all looking brand new. And I was like, okay. So I saw this and I was like, okay. So then we left from there. We went into the See's candy place. And I like to get the pecan roll. Love pecan rolls. Don't eat it often, but I like to treat myself to a pecan roll. So I'm in there and I'm looking. And it's a really big, huge See's candy place. Huge. Checker floors, crispy clean in there. And I'm looking, I'm like, so then I started looking at the old photographs that they have pictures all on the wall. when they first started. How they had people lined up outside to get this candy. And I'm looking at the pictures, I'm looking at the pictures, I'm looking at the pictures. And I'm like, wow. Okay. So I look at that timeline, what that timeline was like. And I'm just looking at it, observing. And I'm looking at everything. If you follow what I mean. I'm looking at everything. In that timeline. Who was able to partake in eating the candy, and how that company was so successful when it started. See's Candy. They even had their own candy trucks back then. And I'm like, wow, how did they get their own candy trucks to deliver the candies back then with all the stuff that was going on then? So I'm just looking at that and I'm like, okay, this is like super coded, and I'm decoding it as I'm looking at it. And I'm like, okay. So finally I go ahead and I say, okay, get out of this timeline. I go ahead and get my candy. And then I said, well, since we're out, let's go to Michael's over here. I used to go to Michael's all the time over there. And I'm like, let's go to Michael's. So we drove over to Michael's. As I'm driving past Target, and then I see the store that's no longer vacant. It's some kind of fitness store. Hold on a second. Where are you? Okay. I heard a bird chirping out the window, and I'm like, where are you? What's going on? Okay. So I'm driving, and I see this building, and it was a building where they'd always use it for Spirit Halloween, and it was totally revamped, and it was a fitness center now. And I said, well, that's where Deb and I used to go hang out and do in the parking lot. And that's where we got our hats from. So I was having that moment. I said, oh, why am I going down memory lane? Oh. Then I drive into the parking lot where Michael's is and had a freaking meltdown because everything was changed. Everything was up leveled, different colors, new signage. Another building had already closed that was next there, Steiner's. I knew that building wasn't going to make it because it was too freaking expensive. It was ridiculous. And I said, wow, it looks like all the places that we used to hang out at has been erased. Even the hospital that we worked at together no longer had Manor Care on it. It had Post-Acute Care Center, other known as Manor Care. It had another sign on it, totally redone. And I was just like, am I in a different reality? Because that's what it felt like. Like I had went into a different reality, and like this had just freaking happened. But there was no remnants of anything of when Deb and I used to do our nursing together, building. It was all revamped. It was all redone. Nothing was associated with that. And I was like, I feel like everything of what I remember of that and what I used to do over here has been erased. And I literally fell apart in the parking lot, lost it. And the young one's just looking at me, and she's like, she's like, and I said, I'm fine. I said, it's just gone. It's a different reality right here. This whole section, because I was just expecting it to look the same, you know. And I said, it always looks the same when I come through here, but this was like a kind of like a shocker to my system because everything was different. everything was new. Everything was cleaner, brighter, bigger, colorful. And I was happy to see that, but I was just like, but how I knew it, what it used to look like, was erased, completely gone. And I'm like, whoa. So here's the topic. When you're standing in your truth of who you are and you're really standing in everything of what your path is, what your purpose is, and you're always going to get what I call the Neely monsters coming around saying nasty things and just cruel things or whatever to try to throw you off your track or to make you start rethinking yourself, to make you start feeling like second guessing yourself of your truth of what you believe in, who you are, what you're connected to, and you kind of have to look at this and say to yourself, are you willing to stay 100% in the truth of who you are, no matter what? No matter what others might think of you, what they might say about you, how they might come at you and attacking, are you willing to just stand in the truth of who you are? And when we say stand in the truth of who you are, it simply means this. Do you know who you are? Do you love yourself enough to stand in your truth, to not let someone else come and fear-base you, to make you surrender that truth of yourself to fit the agenda of what the fear base is? When we change our frequency and we are in that higher realm, we're in a higher version of ourselves. We'll see that all around us. And that's what I was being shown today. Even though it like shocked my system. And I said, I feel like it was all erased. There was nothing I could just like, and I was like, it's all different. It's all been changed. But isn't that what change is? Is that when the old comes down, something new comes in its place. So when you change yourself and you decide to make a change and to really step in and represent the truth of who you are, and you become that, everything's changed. But the people that are around you that see you, they want the old version of you to stay around. Because that's the one that, didn't know what was going on. You didn't know yourself. You didn't care. They don't want that part of you erased. They don't want the newer version. They want the one that they can hang out with because they know how that one is. They know that one's not going to do what they said they're going to do. They know they're going to fall behind. They know they're not consistent. They know they're all talking, no do. Right? But when you do step in, when you do step into the self and you do represent yourself, they can't hang out with you anymore. So this is why I asked that question. Are you willing to stand in your truth and to represent that? Are you really willing to fight for you, your belief, your divinity, your sovereignty, your path of what you came here to do? Are you willing to do that? Because I've been very observant here in YouTube land and other places. I don't like Facebook. I do that only Messenger. I like my Signal. Signal's great. I like having my private groups in Signal. I don't like what is the other one? Instagram. I started, I just, what? Instagram. I just don't like it. There's something about the vibration. It just doesn't reside when, it doesn't match with me anymore. I know I need so it's hard to change. Yeah. And here's another thing. How many of you really sit down and take time to go through your emails and delete all that shit? I know. You look at the thing, it says 600, 900 emails. How many of you literally have gone and looked? I can't do TikTok. And I can't do, what's that other one with the X? What's the other one with the X? I just forgot. I can't do TikTok, and I can't do, what's the one with the X with Elon Musk? What's that one? Twitter. I can't do that either. I lasted 5 minutes on Twitter. Had to close it down. I lasted, I think, 3 or 4 minutes on TikTok. Had to close it down. There's just something about the energy of that and tapping into that. I was like, oh, no, that's not, what do? No, that's not me. So I'm just watching and I'm observing people. I'm observing truthers. I'm observing even the ones that come trolling on truthers' platform. Probably why I'm always here too. Yeah, I look at different platforms and I'm looking at them and I'm saying, okay, they're doing their path. They're on a path. That feels good. Then I see some others that are blatantly doing things and I'm like, do I want my energy to tap into that? And I'm like, no, I won't tap into that. I'm just not going to do that. And then I see things coming up of attacking through religion beliefs and stuff. And I'm like, what does it matter? Especially after what I learned about where we are all tagged and sealed at in the Vatican. It doesn't really matter. But we took care of that here at Beats of Light. We broke that. We broke that spell. Because one thing about spells is this. You can cast it. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to take effect on whoever you're casting it to. Especially if you're doing it for the wrong reason. Because there's always a loophole that's going to undo it. That's always going to undo it. So this is why when people do something like that on such a level and saying, oh, there's just no undoing this. No, there is an undoing it. Because as we keep moving into a higher reality that's taking us out of this dense level realm that we have all been indoctrinated into in its belief centers and its manipulation, inverted ways, its lies, its deceit. When you're leveling up and you're standing in the truth of who you are, your frequency is high. And it makes it very difficult for other people who are not leveled up to come and hang out in your space because they know they're not leveled up. They know they're still telling themselves a lying story. They know they haven't raised that frequency up yet, and they can't hang out with you. This is not a judgment thing. This is just simple metaphysics. Like energy attracts like energy. Can't hang out until that energy reaches a point where they level up and change. So right now we're all at a place where we have to change. And right now we're seeing a lot of things in our reality that's challenging us to stay on our path. Oh, wouldn't it just be so easy? I know, I know, I know. Wouldn't it just be so easy to just say, screw this, I don't want to do this anymore. Just throw it all away. Wouldn't it just be easy? Just throw it all away. Why? You work so hard to get to this point where you are right now. So what? Someone doesn't believe in anything that you're saying. So what? People don't support you in what you're doing. They're the wrong alignment. Point blank, period. They don't align with you. I don't care if it's family, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, grandma, and grandma. I don't care. They just don't align with what you're doing. And that's okay. That's okay. Because in that, you find alignment with other souls that are in the same place you are, standing in their truth. They're representing it. They're going to do it no matter what. And you know what? One thing I learned today, because I was looking for certain material and I wasn't going to stop until I ran into it. And after I had the little meltdown in the parking lot, saying everything's been erased, blah, 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 let's go into Michael's. Boom, I find it in Michael's there. And I was like, got two of them. I was like, thank you. Found it. Yay. But I was so damn persistent. That's that Capricorn. That Capricorn energy. It's persistency. Like to get that freaking end result. I'm going to be persistent because I want to see the outcome. Sometimes when we stand in the truth of who we are and we know we're just right there, we're bringing in what we really desire in our life, and it's going to get better for all of us. It really is. We just got a couple of timelines that we should not tap into. That's the name of the game. You got to stay in the truth of who you are and represent that, but don't get caught in the artificial timelines of fear, because that is how we've been controlled on this planet, is fear. That has been our control. Fear not having food, fear not having a job, fear not having money, fear your car's been free, fear not being loved, fear not being able to have children, fear not being able to get this project done, fear. And what makes it sickening is that energies outside of the circle that is where we're all in, and the ones on the outside, they say all we have to do to control mankind and humans is give them fear. Feed them fear. And isn't that what we've been dealing with? Is fear. So if you stand in fear of that, you can't see the truth of who you are or truth of what you're doing clearly. You can't see it because you got too much energy that's wreaking havoc with you. You don't know what to believe or what to think or how to flow or what's what. Isn't that how it feels right now? We don't know what's up, what's down, who's who, what's going on, what do. I think I would be a crazy. I would be like, if I was ever, just hypothetically thinking, if I ever was supposed to be like in the White House or something, I would just totally, I would ask so many ridiculous questions. They probably would have to just say, you know what, you're not aligned with this one. I'm not, and I want the people to know the truth. But let me get back to this. It's about truth. Truth. Your truth, representing what you do. And being able to say it without feeling bad about talking about you. Without stumbling through your words. Without feeling like, Oh, they're not going to understand me. They're not going to understand what I do. Da, 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 da. I used to do that a lot. Nobody understands spiral light. Nobody understands galactic spiral light. They don't understand how the frequency works. They don't understand how I can run the colors and the frequency and make a change in wherever it is, in the person's body, in their water, in their bed, in their home, how to run that energy. They don't understand it. They don't get it. Nobody understands my work. So what do? I say, I'm just going to show up and I'm going to show you who I am and what I like to do. I'm going to show up, and whoever aligns with me, they're going to understand it. They're going to get it. And sometimes you just have to show up and just represent your truth anyway. Doing it for the highest good. You know, you're not coming on and being a troll monster or being some gatekeeper. Notice how I'm using those words because I can't stand gatekeepers. They walk around and act like they are for you, but they're not. I can't stand it. They're walking lying beings because they're getting paid to tell a false scenario. Can't stand that. You know what? Here's the thing. I'm getting ready to go there. Can you tell? I just can't stand liars. I just can't tolerate it. Okay, I understand some of us will stretch the truth on something. You know, I get it. You know, somebody's dying or they're in a place of, you're not going to go bombard them with this massive truth and then that's going to be the end of them. They're just going to go, because it was too much for them to handle. You're going to kind of use your wisdom when you should say something and how it should be said and how you present it. Okay? But to just blatantly just go around lying, I just can't stand it. I can't stand it. And a lot of times, the ones that can't represent their truth, they don't know who they are. Let's start with that. They take on identities of other factors or things or people, or they take those on and they think they're going to represent that makes them look like this because they have no association with themselves. They can't identify with themselves. They don't know who they are. So when you don't know who you are, you can't walk in your truth. You really can't. You can't show up in it. You can't be it. Can't represent it. You can't love. Because you don't love yourself enough to find out who the hell you are. You can't. Until you drop the facade and you get real. Or don't want to be found. Exactly. There's so many people walking around fractured from trauma. Some people may not want some people to ever find them. Exactly. I totally get that. It's a part of hiding. Why do you think they have that show? What's that show called? I've never watched it, but I've always wondered why they made that show. Masked Singer. I think it's, did I say it right? Masked Singer, Unmasked Singer, Masked Singer. Where they always dress up in all these costumes and they go sing these songs, and then you have to unravel who they are, who they really are. You have to, this is the crazy part, you have to tell them who they are underneath their mask. Is that really a game or is that reality? Was that really a game? Or is it just kind of dressed up to look like, yeah, don't know who the hell I am, but I'm going to make you figure me out. You tell me who I am. Where's the truth in that? as we get closer to next month, my lovelies, oh, there's going to be a whole bunch of popsicles going on because you're going to need them to kind of cool yourself off on some of the things that you're going to be feeling and seeing. You're going to start questioning yourself because what is next month? Spirit, Creator, that number going to sit on every single one of us. And now with Capricorn dancing in between, I forgot which planets it's doing, but it's doing this weird thing. It's going to create this energy of revisiting things. I like how Leo King puts it. It's like you're going to have things coming up, revisiting you from this 16 years ago. I go, nah, no. There's some people I don't want to see back from 16 years ago. Period. Because they were just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So it makes you really think. Can you stand in your truth? Can you represent it? Because next month, guess what, lovelies? It's on. You're going to be tested right and left. Because there's going to be this energy that comes up that's going to be feeding the consciousness of who are you? What do you represent? You got this false energy that wants you to think a certain way, but the divine energy is coming in saying, no, this is not yours. It's kind of like a Constantine moment. You know, when he finally makes the final decision, he's going to do this and he's going to make that sacrifice of himself so that he can be taken and then the other soul can be released from hell realm and go to the heaven realm. He's going to make the sacrifice. And then Lucifer drops down. I thought that was kind of weird. He should have been coming up from the ground, but not he drops down. He descends down to pick up Constantine. And it's like pulling on Constantine, saying, this one's mine. And then the light comes out and it's like, no, this one is mine. This one gets to stay. He goes, well, if he's going to stay, I'm going to make sure that he lives a while so he can make a mistake and I finally get him. So then he reaches in and heals him of the cancer in his lungs. I want you to live so you can make the errors, give up on yourself, and then I'll win you anyway. It's all the game, right? To just give up and don't stay in your truth. You have to be willing to stay in your truth no matter what. But it's the art of how you tell your truth, of how you speak your truth, so others can receive it. You don't need to beat somebody over the head and say, this is my truth and that's how you're going to have to take it. No, you just say it and say, well, I'm glad that aligns with you, but here's my truth and I'm sticking with it. This is how I feel. This is how I see it from my perspective. That's it. Some of you are getting really steadfast and you're moving forward and you're moving into what makes you happy, what makes you feel good. You're making those little changes. You're challenging yourself. You're saying no to this, yes to this. No to this, hell yes to this. You know, you're lighting up with that. You're stepping in, and when you keep saying yes to something that feels really good to you, and you take that aligned action to keep in alignment with it, things keep falling into synchronicity for you and falling into place. Because you're radiating that beautiful energy that keeps aligning with you. That keeps saying yes, 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 yes. Versus being in a struggling energy, fighting against yourself, tearing yourself down energetically. You can't create if you're doing that. And then you keep getting the lower energy that keeps giving you more of that. We're just going to keep pushing you down. Okay? You got to remember, the whole game is to keep you from raising your frequency. So how can we keep you in anxiety? How can we keep you depressed? How can we keep you in fear? Oh, I know. Let's show something on social media. Let's show something devastation on TV. Let's tell them a whole new bill just went out and now this is going to impact the system. When it's not, more than likely not the truth. But you'll feel it and think, wouldn't it just be nice if you just saw it for what it is and just say, no, that's not true. I'm going about your business. I do that a lot. I'm like, nope. Not true. Going about my business. I don't panic or worry about anything until I see it on my doorstep. If it's brave enough to come and show itself on my doorstep, then I'm ready to take that move as I knock over my water bottle. I'm ready to take that move. But if it's not in my space, or no, I'm not going to be worrying about that. You understand what I'm saying? Stay in the truth of who you are so that your light of the truth of who you are emanates that frequency all the way around you, 360 degrees. Period. Well, I have someone, if they ever find me again and shows up on my doorstep, the need to lie down permanently. Yes! I got one of those too. Yes, I have one of those. Yes. It's called an ex-husband. I have something waiting for him. If he ever shows up unannounced and for whatever reason he decides to resurrect himself all of a sudden and shows up. Yeah, I got something. What was that movie? Double Jeopardy. There we go. Yeah, Double Jeopardy. That's a good movie. If you've never seen that one, that's a good one. Double Jeopardy. So that's what today's message is. It was real straightforward and simple. I was like, what's the message? What do you want? What are we talking about today? And it's about truth. And I said, yeah. We only have, this is day 17, 4 days left of this 21-day challenge. And this is where I really want you to, but I do speak my truth to people, and I do get your message. Yes, speaking your truth is where you want to be, because it makes your light emanate that. Okay? Here's the thing. You speak your truth. You show up in your truth. It makes it harder for others who don't represent in their truth to try to be in your space. So then you attract people who tell the truth. Or you become like Wonder Woman with that lasso energy, and they have to tell the truth around you anyway. Because that happens a lot with me. Because of how I walk, what my medicine I carry in me, I can just be sitting, somebody just sits next, can I just talk to you for a minute? And they just start pouring out their soul, talking. And I'm like, it's funny, when you're a priestess or a sun dancer or someone that's a healer, your light emanates this pulse out there. And some people who are just needing to talk will just sit down and talk to you because they just need someone to listen to them. And they just want to talk. You become what I call the light counselors in that moment for that person. And just because you listen to them and because you sat in your truth of who you are, you represent that. Your light goes on and makes them speak their truth. And you know what? You don't even have to say anything. Just being present, smiling, nodding your head. And then they get that and they're able to stand up and they feel good. They feel better. A lot of us have that beautiful gift. All people want to do is just sit with you. A lot of times, I just tell people, just sit down. Just sit. Here's a glass of water. Just sit. And I just sit there. And then the tears will start coming down. They start talking. They start getting their voice. They express themselves. And I'm like, mm-hmm, 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 uh-huh, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, yes, mm-hmm. And I'm just listening to them. I'm just sitting in who I am. And by doing that, this person gets that imprinted energy, activation of themselves. Now they're like, oh wow. And they'll hear themselves talking because I'm what? I'm not interrupting them. I'm letting them talk. Express themselves. Let them hear themselves. Let them hear their spirit, their soul talking to them. Because a lot of times when you're standing in your truth of who you are, you're representing that, and others come into your space, it's their soul that's really going to show up as the truth to tell you. A lot of times when I work with clients, I will be sitting here, I got you on the phone, and I'm like, okay, and I'm listening. The soul is telling me what's going on. How long has it been going on? What happened? And then the soul will start sending this vision. And then I said, were you blah, 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 blah? And then they say, yeah. And I said, how did you know? I said, your soul is talking to me right now. Because I had that space of speak your truth. Speak your truth. Show up and just speak your truth. Yesterday, when we came together and we did, and thank you so much, everyone has such positive feedback on that. Thank you so much for that. It was really fun to sit in that space and to hear the gong. And I mean, I'm not kidding. It was like, call, hey, you got any time today? Can we go over there and use that space? I know it was going to be used for evening. Can we go over? Went over, set it up in 20 minutes, got over there. When you had us all do the repurpose ritual, I wrote my desire as a kid, a Reiki practitioner certification. Yay! Yes! Absolutely. So, set everything up, and then came on and we started bringing in the sound vibration. That was the air. And I thought it was really interesting when we got the ancestor cards, we had the father of air. And I was like, and then when we got the altar water card, and that was Oshun. See, when we turned the camera off, after everything was done, and we went and poured our waters underneath the dogwood tree. Dogwood tree represents rebirth, re-resurrection of the self, that reconstitution of self to come back up, restored, renewed. And I had to look it all up. I was like, dogwood, there's something with that. So we poured the water there. And I was just like, hi, darling, sitting there thinking, wow, cannot make this stuff up. For the spirit of the ancestors to come in and really make themselves known right then and there for that medicine. And we were all connected into that water and doing that and representing that energy and being one with that. That was a beautiful ceremony together. Now, here's the truth of this. I did a water ceremony about 4 or 5, about 4, maybe 4 years ago, before everything got weird. And I had this workshop, and that's where this beautiful water picture comes from. That everyone came to the workshop, and I wasn't thinking nothing of it. I just said I'm just gonna do this, as a clearing, a cleanse of this, and this is the truth of what I'm setting up. This is my intention. And my boss at the time, she was like, "Okay, let's set it up that way and go do what you need to do." And I said, "Okay." So I had all these people signed up. They came in, and I had 2 water bowls. Now, get this, I never did this before. I just was told to just do this. And I was like, okay. So I had the 2 water bowls. I had my seashell, and I just was gifted this pretty seashell by a coworker who gave it to me, Desiree. Gave it to me. And she goes, here, I wanted to give this to you. This has been with me, but I don't have a need for it, but I know you work with seashells. And I go, yeah, I do. She gave it to me, and it was so pretty, and I was just like, wow, that's really cool. I used it for that ceremony. And I just remember how I had everybody coming up, and everyone around in the circles were representing the space, but they were coming up, and they were taking the shell, and they were scooping the water, and they were saying their prayers into the shell. They were saying what they needed. Then they poured the water into the larger bowl. And then the next person came up, and the next person came out, and the next person came out. And then after it was all said and done, everyone felt really good. That was their way of saying what they needed. Okay, now, true story. I take the bowl after everything is done, everybody comes outside. I take the bowl, I take it up to the heavens. I say, let it all be done, let it all be received of what each one is looking for. Hear them. I take it and I pour the water down on the ground and say thank you. And everybody's like, phew. So medicine's complete, everybody goes their separate ways. A week later, after that ceremony, I was getting inundated with, there's calls coming in, please tell Felicia, thank you so much for that. Something I needed came through. Please tell Felicia, I'm bringing something in to say thank you for that ceremony. Something just happened. Please tell Felicia, I have a gift. I mean, it was so weird. And I was like, what's going on? And I was just like, okay. And then one of the ladies that was there had painted me this beautiful picture of a spiral with the water bowl and that shell. And she did the artwork of it and presented it to me and gave it to me. She said, it's because of you. Here it is. I was able to speak the truth to my husband and tell him how I was really feeling and that what I really wanted to do in my life. And I knew that we weren't on the same page anymore. And I didn't want to hurt him. And it went really easy. And we both came to an agreement to stop living a false lie. She says, it's because that's what I asked for guidance on. Because I wasn't happy. And then she went and did the artwork and gave it to me. And she was just like saying, thank you. It's like a burden came off of her chest because she wasn't telling or living her truth. She's like, I'm just existing in this marriage and I'm not connected to it anymore. It's just, I don't feel that. And that, and that's really hard. And I'm coming from an ordained minister point of view. When we take those sacred vows and we're speaking the truth there to have and to hold, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health. Okay. Um, when you're saying those vows to each other, and then you're putting the symbol of love, a ring that symbolizes the unity of two souls that come together, that makes the one. Okay. The unity of that. And then when it has to come undone, a lot of people just think, okay, I need to go do the divorce papers. We need to go to court, get it all done, da 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 da. Because now their truth is they're not happy anymore and they want to come out of it. But here's the thing. If you did the ceremony to come together, you need to do the ceremony to separate out. Because that's how we stop living in these soul contracts with others that still feel like there's a owing of something because you were tied to them before. Does that make sense? And this is where we get this energy when we're not looking at that. When you're trying to go forward in life and you're trying to find another divine partner to be with, and there's like this weird blockage thing going on because there's a ceremony that has to be done to undo that. Because you have to remember, the ceremony was done so that all could witness it. Now a ceremony needs to be done so all can witness it again, coming undone. So that is duly noted, heaven and earth noted, that the two do not walk as one anymore. That the two now have gone as separate paths. That the hearts are not joined anymore. Okay. So, just from what I've seen, when it comes to that, how interesting, if you don't do that kind of that ceremony to separate it, you're still, even though it's an ex, even though it's a divorce, it was physically done on paper. You spiritually have to take care of it. You spiritually have to undo it. The paper is one aspect, but you spiritually have to undo it. Okay? So that's that, standing in truth and representing that. Now, some of you are going to go back and you're going to be like, damn it, she's right. But I'm showing it to you because it's truth. And this is why in the days coming, the truth is going to be harder to take than if it was a lie. Because as we keep moving higher into the divine light of self, representing that truth is so strong. And some are not going to be able to handle it. This is why those of you that have been a part of this, bravo to you. You made it this far. I like watching how many people start dropping off. They're like, I can't do it anymore. And then others are like, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. Like I said, it's just checking in, making the notation with yourself, and being consistent. That's all it is. When I come on and give the video, I give the teaching. Like I said, a lot of times I don't know what I'm going to be presenting. I'm like, what's the message today? Because I don't just assume, okay, I'm just going to come on here and talk about this. Oh, no, lovelies. What do? No, they got to say. He'd be like, oh, you think you're going to talk about that? We have plans. This is what we want you to say. So I used to drop in and off, but now I can't miss a day. Oh, thank you. It's, you know what? It's really interesting when I do these these gatherings like this, because I'm always saying, well, where's the material coming from? My gosh, what am I going to talk about? Jeez, you know, and I have to just show up. They do the work, and then I just give the message. Because I have so many weird things that have happened to me in my life that are the medicine that I can talk about. I can talk about my divorces. I can talk about my past illnesses. I can talk about the physical abuse that I went through in a marriage, and how head trickery that is coming from a nursing profession. You never think it could happen to you. And then you're like, whoa, I'm educated. Whoa. What the hell? What is this? And then you find out this is, on a spiritual level, the truth of it is, it's a lesson because you didn't get it the first time with this soul that you are encountering now. You didn't get it the first time. Now this soul is ramping it up more so you can get this lesson. How much do you value yourself? And how much do you love yourself enough to get out? That's the truth of that. So when we talk about your truth, it shows up in many different ways. You know, you put in an order. You ask for a nice burger, if you're going to have a turkey burger, or maybe a chicken burger or a fish burger. We'll go with the fish. But you wanted to have tartar sauce on it and just some pickles. But when you got it, it had cheese on it, it had lettuce on it, it had some funky looking orange sauce on it, and it's not what you ordered. But here's the test. Here's the truth. Do you just settle and you just go along with it and say, oh, well, that's fine, it's okay? Or do you just say, no, that's not what I wanted? And then you go out and say something about it and say, I ordered this. This is not what it is. Can I please get the order changed? Because this is what I asked for. Some of us haven't learned to do that. We decided to just take it as it comes. You just fall for it. You just keep it. You settle for it. You don't go make it right. You don't speak up and say, hey, no, that's not what I asked for. I asked for this. Could I get a correction on this, please? This doesn't feel aligned. This is not the alignment. See the difference? And if you don't do it, the universe is being very sneaky now. Even if you just think it in your head, I do want, it's gonna be so bad. I do want that chocolate. But I'll go ahead and play safe and get the vanilla with some sprinkles on it. And then something happens. You can't get the freaking vanilla one. You can only get the chocolate one, which is the one you really wanted in the first place. Or you're thinking it. You're thinking you want a lemonade, but you kind of go up to the counter and you say, no, I'll just have a root beer. But then you go up and get the order and here's your order and here's your lemonade. And you're like, well, yeah, that's what I was really thinking. Yeah. So I really got what I really wanted. Do you see the difference in that? Because you were really in your truth of saying, I really wanted this. But when you spoke, that and this didn't match. So did they know what you really wanted? So they just said, oh, what are you doing? Give it a lemonade. And the person makes a lemonade not knowing why they did that. They think it's the root beer that they poured, but it really isn't. It's the lemonade. And then they give it to you. And you're like, oh yeah, that's what I really wanted anyway. Same thing when it comes to meeting people. You see the person, you feel in alignment with them, you feel good, and you're like, oh. Oh, but then someone else comes along, is talking to you, and you go ahead and settle for that. But you really wanted to talk to that one, because that's the one that you really felt the connection with. But you and then later you find out that wasn't a good alignment. But then now you see this one is open. Now you go back and it's like, hey, you remember that night we saw each other? I really wanted to talk to you that night, but I saw you go off with this other one, and I just said, oh, okay. It's all about what's your truth. It's in everything that we do, from the foods we eat to how we sleep to who we see. It's in every moment. What's your truth? And if you can stand in your truth, you're standing in your true, authentic self. You're being authentic. Because you're not going to settle. You're not going to say, oh, okay, I'll go with this. You're not going to do that. You're going to say, beep, bada boom, this is what I want. And you're not going to settle. You're just going to have a smile on your face and say, that feels aligned, that feels aligned. Sorry, you got to go. Canceled. You're like that. Because what? You're in your truth. It resonates with you. You're not going to settle. You're not going to fake yourself out. You're not going to mask yourself and expect others to tell you who the hell you are underneath that mask. You know who you are. I can't even stand that show. I've never even watched it. I just can't. I can't do it. Like, why the hell do I got to figure out who the hell's underneath the mask? We got enough of that going on right now? It's looking like, who was that other? That's not. You're not. Oh, no, you're definitely not. You're like. Okay, so that's the lesson message today. Staying in your truth. It's all around you. How are you feeling about things? Does everything feel aligned to you? Does it feel good? Does it feel okay? Or are you just faking yourself out? Saying, oh, that's okay. Deep down inside, you're like, I can't stand it anymore. I'm gonna, losing my crap. Hi, how's it going? How's life treating you? Fabulous. Oh, I'm just having a great time. Yes. Love Earth. Yes. I love all the shenanigans that's going on. Thank you so much. Yes. I can't stand it. Instead of just saying, I can't stand it. I think it's terrible. A bunch of wannabes walking around here looking like each other and masking up all over the place, and we're paying all these high prices for no reason, and it's a bunch of solarchy. I can't stand it. That's just my truth on it. How's your truth today? Yeah. Anyway. That's that lesson for today. So yesterday, that medicine was very in my face. And then something else happened today that was like, I was like, damn, what is that message all about? And some of us are born. And we keep looking for evidence of our connection and of of that fine line of truth approval. You know, some of us are born looking at that energy of ourselves. We just want to make sure we're doing everything just right. We want reassurance. Then when you do get that validation, it's a shock to your system. Because what would make you think that you weren't validated or aligned with whatever that you were doing in front of you? Who you are and what you're connected to. See, they know who you are. They know why you're here. Everybody knows the part you're going to play. You have to figure out the part you're playing as they watch you do it. And they see you aligning with it. And they see you getting ready to really align with your purpose and what you're doing. And now you're aligning with it. And then they sit back and say, oh, look, they found it. And so then the game is on where they protect so that you keep going. Thanks for the message about the fear coming today and delivering that message. Yeah, because believe it or not, that's how everything is controlled. Just to sit, look at everything. NEWS stands for, I told you what NEWS stands for, Negative Environmental Word Service. NEWS, not north, east, south, west. It's not that. West, south. Negative Environmental Word Service. NEWS. So let's see what the ancestors have a message for us today about our truth. And we're going to leave it at that. And all of you can sleep really well. We got 1 and 2. These cards, man, they are just like in my face. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Bottom card 44, the unknown, the enigma. The unknown. What balances, now this is 44, right? The top card on top of that, the High Priestess, intuition and knowingly. You got to be the priestess or the priest and being that energy of knowingness. So these two affirmations, interesting how it's 44 and there's a 2. Make this stuff up now. So the 44 affirmation for this, we're going to say the words of activation. The activational words for the enigma is, I am being guided and protected. Okay? I am being guided and protected. If something is out of alignment with your nervous system, you will reject it. This includes all of your intentions and goals and dreams and plans. It is imperative to become comfortable with being uncomfortable, so that you can continue to take risks to grow, evolve, and expand. It's so true. And then the last one, the High Priestess. My intuition is my direct channel to Divine Spirit. Honor your sensitivity. Be honest with yourself and others. Allow your intuition to guide you on your journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth, unlocking profound insights along the way. Well, that medicine is complete. Can't make this stuff up, people. I'm telling you. You guys stand here and mix up the cars, throw the cars across the road, mix them all up, and there you go. I'm gonna sit down and have my pecan pie, my pecan roll. Can't do the pie; it's too rich. But I can do a key lime pie. Oh my God! When I was in New Orleans, we had, I can't remember exactly what this restaurant was, but it was so good. I got the prawns. It was served up in butter, like gravy. You had to wear a bib at this place because the food was so good. They don't want you to mess up your clothes. And I said, I would love to have a piece of key lime pie. And the guy who was doing the serving for us, he said, well, you come to the right place because nobody knows how to make key lime pie like New Orleans. And I was like, and I got that key lime pie slice, and I was just like, it was like glowing. It was like, oh! I was like, it's a key lime pie. Oh my God. The food in New Orleans, Texas, Puerto Rico is off the hook insane. I don't know how much love goes on to all of it, but the food is so good out there. And New Orleans is like that place where time stops. That place of that beauty, that essence. I love that place. So, if you haven't been out there, I would highly suggest you take some time to visit this place. But Puerto Rico, don't get me started with the mofongo, the lechon, tostadas. Give me a plane ticket. Gotta go. All right, lovelies. Be good to yourself. Much love to you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Sleep well tonight. And I will see you tomorrow. We're almost done. Make sure everything is aligned how you want it to be aligned for your goals. It's okay to look at that. But be good to yourself. Be divinely aligned. Be divinely loved, seen, and heard. Free and awake. And have a good evening for yourselves. And I will see you tomorrow. It's hot out here. I'm not kidding how hot it is. How hot out here in California. But it's not as bad in Puerto Rico because the UV out in Puerto Rico is 12. We're only about a 9 out here right now. It's 12 in Puerto Rico. Oh, good. And they have off and on electricity. They still haven't stabilized their electricity yet. They haven't fixed it. And Florida still has off and on power. So, all right, lovelies. I will see you tomorrow. Be so like, and subscribe. Stay true to your light.